Good morning. My name is Tim from Plugged Into Leadership, your outlet for leadership success. Hope you have your mugs. Let's dive in. We're going to be talking about a massive dream killer and how we can fix it. So, a few years ago, I was in a job that I didn't like. The job didn't like me. The people that were my supervisors, my bosses, didn't necessarily get along with me either. It was just all around not a good situation. And you may be asking yourself, well, then why did you stay in that situation? And I asked myself that same question a number of times, and I knew that I had been called to something else and something better and something different, but I remained stuck where I was at. And one of the very extremely significant reasons that I stayed where I was at is because I did not have this one thing that you might not have, and it might be killing your dreams too. And I asked this question a few weeks ago on Facebook: what is keeping you from your dream? And I was surprised initially by some of the answers, by the common theme that was going on in some of the answers. But then when I really thought about it, I was like, no, this makes a lot of sense. And I think that we're all in a similar spot. And so since that time, we have taken some specific measures to change some things in our life. When I say we, I say my wife and I and our family and our house, because one of the major things that was killing our dreams is the same thing that was killing keeping a number of you from your dreams on my Facebook wall, and that is money or lack of funds, or the freedom with the sense of having your bills paid or not having your bills, not having a lot of bills in order to be able to do what you've actually dreamed of doing. And I think this is a crazy epidemic in America right now. Something like 75 or 80% of cars are financed, like especially luxury cars. There are people that have extremely nice looking homes that are way, way, way underwater with those homes, meaning that if they sold them, that they wouldn't make back what they took out for a loan with that. So high ranking executives, people that are making hundreds of dollars an hour, hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, are in the same boat as some of us that aren't making it nearly that much. And this idea of being able to have enough money or to lower our bills so that we can live out our dream and our calling is super important. Let me just read some of these on Facebook. This is what you posted on Facebook about what is keeping you from your dream. Tiffany said, lack of funds. William said, money, lack of education, time. Rob said, finances, higher priorities. Lindsay said, right now, money. I'm just reading through some of these. Some people were, I'm living my dream. Some people were saying, Chan was saying, money. There's 4 or 5 people in here that have their dream job. That's amazing. That is awesome. Thomas, funding. Wanda, I have my dream job. That's great. PhD, which I'm sure costs money on some level. So on and on. Tyler says externally money, internally perfectionism. Orion says finances mostly. So again, on and on and on and on and on. It's a reoccurring theme that money is keeping us from our dreams. And money isn't everything, but one of the things that I have changed in my thinking recently, which has hopefully freed my family up to think about things better in the future, is to not think about expenses on a month-to-month basis, but think about expenses as how much will this cost over time. And so a perfect example might be in the market for a house. And just the difference between a 30-year mortgage and a 15-year mortgage, you pay significantly more, 40, 50% more than you would on a 15-year mortgage. But on a 15-year mortgage, we look at it and say, yeah, but the payment is so much higher. You're right, the payment is higher, just slightly higher, maybe a couple $100 more a month. But one of the significant things is that you're paying hundreds of thousands of dollars usually less in the long run just by saving yourself that 15 years. And so typically my mindset was I had a, we had a tractor. We liked to eat out a lot. We had student loans. We had house improvement projects that we want to do. So all this stuff, and we would look at it through the lens of, if we took out a loan, how much would it add to our monthly expenses? And one of the significant shifts that we had to make as a family that we've revisited more recently is, how much is this going to cost overall in the long run? And so there are two things that I would like you to do to help get you on the path of being able to fund your dreams. And it doesn't mean that you need to, we're not trying to make everybody millionaires. Your dream might be to do overseas missions, and you can't do that right now because you have so many bills that you have to pay. You continually have to go to your job and work at it every single day, a job that you don't like, that you're not suited for, and that you know you're called somewhere else because you've committed yourself to these monthly expenses, and you're strapped, right? So this isn't about how to get rich. This is about how to gain wealth so that you can do what you have been called to do. And so the first thing you need to do is you need to get a sizable amount of money in savings. So what I mean by a sizable amount of money is about $1,000. I want you to get $1,000 in the bank in an emergency fund. This is Dave Ramsey 101. If you've taken Financial Peace University or you listen to Dave Ramsey's show, he says this all the time. I am not a financial expert. I'm just saying that these principles have worked and they have been talked about by a number of different experts in the field. And so one of the things that I think that you should do is follow one of Dave's baby steps, as he calls it, and get $1,000 in the bank. Now you might be saying, I can't do that. I have so many expenses. I'm barely making ends meet. Well, all of your debt that you have, all of your credit card debt or expenses, you need to look at that and start paying the minimum on that until you get to $1,000 in the bank. Try to scrape up wherever you can. If you can sell some things, maybe do a yard sale, be strategic about it. We're looking at the future. When we're talking about leadership, we're talking about doing something significant with our lives, we're talking about continuing to grow others. We are often handicapped by not having the funds that people are talking about on my Facebook chat. And so being able to just get that first $1,000 in the bank, if you have $1,000 already in the bank, put it in a separate account. That is for your emergency fund. That is your Murphy's Law fund. Anything that's significant that comes up, you should be able to take care of it with that $1,000. And then the next step is to start paying off your lowest credit card debt or your lowest debt that you have. So this is what Dave calls the debt snowball for all of my FPU fans out there. If you've been through FPU, go ahead and comment. I say, I've been through FPU, great program. Encourage somebody else. If you've not been through FPU, I would encourage you to even take a look at it. Shoot me a message. I would love to help you with that. Great friend, Nate Bredewig, who is just really passionate about this and is continuing to encourage me to help you and also help me to continue to do this because it's so important to leadership. One of the key things about leadership that you'll hear me talk about often is how we can continue to grow and bless and love others. And being so far in debt that you can't help somebody else is a very limiting factor to being able to love somebody the way that you need to. Not that you need to give them money all the time, but just be able to bless them to say, yeah, I can go ahead and do that. I can get you what you need, or I can point you in the right direction, or I can bless you in this way. So that's been one of the huge motivating factors for me, besides looking back at my life and saying, man, there are times when I knew that I was called to something, but because I had made financial commitments, I had to say, no, I can't do it. And that really hurt on the inside. And then I had to continue to do something that I didn't necessarily want to do and knew that I wasn't called to and knew that I didn't like it because just like you, I didn't have my finances in order. I wasn't leading my family well in this way. And so we took significant steps to change that. So hopefully that was helpful for you. The first two things you need to do is get that $1,000 in the bank. Figure out a way that you can get $1,000 in an emergency fund for emergencies only, not, boy, that dress looks really nice, or we need this, we need clothes for the kids or whatever. This is significant things that you have to fixed it just to keep life going. Things like, your repair on a car or your water heater goes out or something like that. And the next thing that you need to do is start paying off whatever your lowest debt is, the smallest amount. Put as much money towards that as you can every single month, and the minimum and everything else. It's called the debt snowball. There's tons of resources on it. That's all for me today. If you share this video, you'll be entered into our weekly resource drawing where we want to put resources into your hands. Share the video, leave a comment on YouTube, write a review on iTunes if you're checking us out on iTunes. This is so important. We're calling this Wealth Wednesdays. We'll be talking about wealth and how we look at it, how we think about it, and what we do on Wednesdays. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow.